In the wise words of Adrian Dater, sometimes you just gotta go out there and say, F it, we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna win, and that's kind of how I feel today because there are 14 games on in the NHL, and there's a lot of overlap in between videos that I want to make and conversations that we can have and actual games that are gonna go on. I mean, if you didn't notice, the Sidney Crosby video that was uploaded like, let's say an hour ago, that was interfering with the Penguins and Rangers game, but I personally decided, okay, it's fine, like the Rangers are smoking the Penguins. It kind of feeds into what we were talking about in that last video. So, to anybody who is paying attention to the Colorado Avalanche, who are going to play against the Oilers later tonight, or the Calgary Flames, who are going to play literally in like an hour from now against the Montreal Canadiens, then I apologize for this video being a little bit too close to those games' starting times, but I wanted to go over one of the biggest rejected trades that we had seen in this 2024 trade deadline, courtesy of Pierre LeBrun on The Athletic. Now, I'll leave a link in the description to this article published about a week ago by Pierre LeBrun, how the NHL trade deadline was won inside 4 different teams and their approaches. Now, it's a pretty self-explanatory article title, but this is The Athletic. It is paid-for material, so we're not going to go ahead and screenshot this piece. Instead, we're going over onto an article published on NHLTradeRumors.me, because what Shane Sini went out there and did was transcribe the quote made by Pierre LeBrun that we wanted to talk about in this video. The Calgary Flames rejected a Colorado Avalanche trade offer for Chris Tanev. Now, Tanev, as we are all familiar with, is now a member of the Dallas Stars. His playing time in Dallas has been limited. He's only got 5 games right now and a goal. But there were some reports from earlier today, I believe, that the Dallas Stars' intentions are to indeed re-sign Chris Tanev. They want to bring him back. They want to see if there's some sort of a fit there beyond this season. And I mean, the guy's 34 years old, so he has a pretty big opportunity here if a team is already committing to him this early on. But Chris Tanev was one of the highly coveted free agents to be in this year's trade deadline period. His contract is expiring at the end of the season. He's currently making $1.125 against the Dallas Stars cap because there was 75% salary retained in the initial trade over from Calgary. But Chris Tanev right now is a defensively minded, shot-blocking defenseman who can play some good minutes, but because of how good he is and because of how old he is, you could debate that if you have this kind of a guy on your third pairing, you're probably a really good team. Like, if you can make the salary work, if you can get everybody else in your team up to snuff, then Chris Tanev as a third-pair defenseman would be an absolutely lethal combination for your team. It's just, for the team that we are talking about here from the Colorado Avalanche, they had themselves a chance to do that. They were not able to fulfill it. Here is what exactly went down. The article on NHLTradeRumors.me talks about how before the Dallas Stars ended up winning the Chris Tanev sweepstakes, the Flames received a slew of interesting trade offers, and the latest details to be revealed from the trade discussions this past week were out of Colorado and how the Avs offered Ryan Johansen and a first for Tanev. Take a look at this. Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic reported on the offer, one that Flames GM Craig Conroy wanted no part of. As he wanted the first rounder for Tanev, there were a number of teams who offered their 2024 pickup. However, it was usually packaged with a quote-unquote bad contract. Johansen was instead dealt over to the Philadelphia Flyers in the Sean Walker trade and was immediately assigned to the AHL, as the Flyers were not interested in him as a long-term option, and his relationship with head coach John Tortorella is rocky at best. Pierre LeBrun said this. And again, McFarland could not comment about this, but league sources confirmed he had talked with Calgary about a similar package, a first-round pick and Johansen for Chris Tanev. Calgary wasn't interested in taking on the Johansen contract, and the Flames liked the Stars' offer instead. Now, if you go over to the Chris Tanev trade and you take a look at what actually went down, the Calgary Flames traded away Chris Tanev in pretty much a 3-team swap in exchange for a package that included Artyom Grushnikov, a second, and a third. So no first-round pick going over to the Calgary Flames in the real Chris Tanev trade, but they did reject a first-round pick that was packaged alongside of Ryan Johansen. And as we had talked about a few videos ago, there was already some drama going on with Johansen in the room in Colorado. There were reports saying that the Avalanche superstar players may have been disgruntled and very upset with the way Johansen was playing and his lack of a work ethic and his ineptitude. He had 23 points in 63 games played. And a lot of Colorado Avalanche fans were really pissed off at the way he was playing too, because he just didn't seem engaged and he wasn't really into it. So there was a lot of kind of harsh feelings going around in the Colorado scene with Ryan Johansen. And so for the Calgary Flames to acknowledge that and to say, yeah, you're giving us that first-round pick that we want for Tanev, but we're not taking on Johansen. That guy's making $4 million a year till 2025 on the Philadelphia Flyers cap hit. There was 50% salary retained on that contract when it was sent over to the Colorado Avalanche. So, yeah, even with that 50% retention, and maybe even another one, still not worth it. We don't want to take him. But it is interesting to me, though, that the Flames ended up not getting that first-round pick anyway in that Chris Tanev trade, because the Dallas Stars only gave them a second and a third, plus Grushnikov, whom I guess the Calgary Flames value pretty highly. They've been really trying to build their defense core of the future these past few trades here, with the Miramanov acquisition from the Hanifin trade, Hunter Brustevich and Yoni Yermo from the Lindholm trade, and now Grushnikov from the Tanev trade, not to mention Hanley, who was claimed by Calgary off of waivers. This is a team that's trying to bolster their young defense, and I guess, in their opinion, Grushnikov, a second and a third, is more valuable than the negative asset that is Ryan Johansen, plus a first-round pick. I mean, taking a look at it, that Colorado first could be somewhere at the end of the first round anyway, so it may not even be too valuable as a first, but still, a first is a first, and there is a certain kind of connotation and projected value that you think about when you hear the phrase first-round pick. So, who really knows? I mean, when it comes to the Colorado Avalanche, they're fine, because they traded Johansen away anyway for Sean Walker, and that is a pretty good acquisition. If it wasn't going to be Tanev, Sean Walker, I think, is the guy that's also as valuable, because him, on your third pair, has a lot of the same qualities as Tanev. Walker can block shots, Walker can play defensively, but he also scores points, and he's a little bit smaller. So, there's a bit of a difference there, but still, the Colorado Avalanche boosted up their decor in a pretty good way post-Bowen Byram trade by trading Johansen away and getting Walker. It's just very apparent now that that wasn't their first choice. They wanted to do the same trade for Chris Tanev, but the Flames straight up said, no, sorry, we'd rather take a lesser draft pick from Dallas if it means not getting on Ryan Johansen's contract. So, pretty interesting developments here, and it's kind of funny to see just how poorly, I guess you could say, Ryan Johansen's reputation around the NHL has carried itself. He gets waived immediately in Philadelphia. There's a bunch of rumors saying that the coach, John Tortorella, wouldn't really be a fan of his game because they have played for each other in the past. And Colorado players were not liking Johansen. The Calgary Flames GM did not want to get him on. Like, I feel like I learned a lot about Ryan Johansen's reputation around the NHL from these past few days here. So, if you're a Calgary Flames fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about your team not trading for a first-round pick in the Chris Tanev trade if it meant not trading for Ryan Johansen at the same time? Are you okay with the Grushnikov second and a third return that you got for Tanev, or would you much rather have gotten something like this? Screw Ryan Johansen, I care about the first round pick. Even if Johansen is not really too good of an asset, it's not like the Flames are all too competitive anyway. So is there an argument to be made that says you would have preferred the Johansen and first package instead of what you ended up actually getting? As well, for the Colorado Avalanche fans, what are your opinions about this trade idea? And what are your thoughts about you getting Walker in exchange for that Ryan Johansen package? Would you rather have had Tanev? Do you like Sean Walker so far? He played pretty well against Vancouver the other night, and I know that because I was attentively watching my television screen as the Vancouver Canucks choked away a 3-0 lead. But either way, Colorado, y'all are doing all right. But if you had the choice, Tanev or Walker, based off of what we were hearing from Pierre LeBrun, what are your thoughts about this entire rejected trade idea? Comment section is your floor. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.